Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been good, dude. Really good fucking weekend, man. Shout out to relaxing. Highly recommend it for all those watching and listening, bro. I just had two and a half nights of just like nothingness, bro. Just like the moment like work was over on Friday, chill. Saturday workout, chill, like, bro, just nothing, bro. So like, I know I feel like I look young as shit, and this is not AI, it's just rest and a good shave. So like, but yeah, man, I feel good right now. How about you?
Nice. Yeah, same. Pretty chill weekend. Didn't do a whole lot. I guess the most exciting thing for me was a couple of weeks ago. There's a tattoo artist who popped up in my like ads or whatever, because he was taking a trip up to San Jose from LA.
Okay.
And I looked at his work, really liked it. So I booked a session for Sunday. So wrapped that up. It took about 4 hours. It's still wrapped up, so I have nothing to show right now. But it basically filled out like the half sleeve that I have on my right arm.
Nice.
So there was like an open space. So I got a palm leaf with a sun, which I really liked. It came out super nice.
Nice. Can you share, like, is there like a deeper meaning behind that, or just you fuck with palm leaves and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it was mostly aesthetic.
Okay.
I think it fits just my vibe in terms of travel and just growing up literally around palm trees, and everything else. So yeah, it's pretty much it.
Nice, dude. Nice. So what else is on that arm?
So it's the lion.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Which
Okay, I wasn't
seen.
sure.
And then I have like a crown and wings on like my inner arm. And then up here, I have that monkey pod tree that's common in Hawaii that I got up here. So
nice.
Slowly working out the full sleeve eventually.
Dude, I was gonna ask you that, bro. Like, because we have similar. We don't have the same tattoos, but we have similar like setups. Like, a half sleeve going and stuff. I have like a half sleeve on my. Do you have to check on my right arm? Because I'm looking at myself. I'm like, is this the right one? So like, I have a half sleeve going as well. Is it annoying at times though that like, bro, you kind of just wish people could see it more often, or even like you see it more often, bro? Because like I feel like with my stuff, dude, even with this on my forearm, because it's like on like that side and not on the normal side of it, like no one ever really sees my shit. So like I'm gonna start going to different parts, so it's more like almost visible to me. But what are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like I find it annoying when everyone's like, "Oh, you had a tattoo." I'm like, "Yeah, bro. Like I've been had this shit."
Yeah, that's funny. Especially because I've been thinking about that. For some reason, I thought you were gonna say the opposite. Like, is it annoying at work or something? But I do find it annoying that like, because I'll like I got this tat and it's damn near down to my elbow, or it is at my elbow, but then I'll put on like an outfit for work and it's just like kind of creeping out. And it's not that I want to show it off and be like some badass, but it's like I want to like look down and see the artwork, and I can't unless I'm like half naked.
100%, dude, because you didn't put ink on your body forever for the fuck of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I think we're past that stage, and I feel like corporate America, where like it'd be. Again, dude, if you were a lawyer and you had a neck tattoo, we're having a different conversation. But I feel like if you're like in any kind of like marketing, sales strategy, like, bro, it's like, come on, who gives a fuck, bro? Like, that's not even a thing of conversation. But yeah, no, I feel like now that the wedding, that cost is behind me, bro, I feel like, I'm gonna start, I feel like I want a couple like on the, above my kneecaps. Because I'm not gonna lie, I wear like short shorts, so like I kind of want those out a lot. I want like something on my calf, just like something that's like every day I'm gonna fucking see this shit. You know what I mean? Because there's times like I'm like, dude, I couldn't even tell which arm it was. Like literally, like I didn't even know. Like, so like, I just feel like I want to just take more, not risk, but just like more like, okay, I have a tattoo and I see the tattoo, as opposed to like it's just there and I never see it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why when I was thinking about my sleeve and different ideas, I'm like, well, it'll look good on this side, but everyone else will see it and I won't, or vice versa. Like only I'll get to see it, but it won't look, and I want to see it, but it won't look as good here. So it's kind of annoying trying to strategize all that.
Yeah. So you're trying to go for the full though on that arm, right?
Yeah. Just on this arm. I'll probably eventually do some leg stuff as well.
Yeah, I think the leg shit is fire, bro. Especially like us, like no homo, but like working out a lot, like and running a lot, like your legs just naturally become like how they're supposed to look. So like
Mhm.
I feel like it's also like a good look on just how it works out. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'll
definitely a
probably get one this
motivator.
summer.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
being like fit is like, I feel like if you're unfit with tattoos, it kind of looks a little crazy, but that's
Yeah,
just
bro.
me.
Crazy, bro. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, crazy. Like, no respect for your body, my G. Like, how you getting
yeah.
ink and get a fucking like Planet Fitness membership before you get ink? Like, no, for sure. But I didn't hear you say so you have the owl. So like, are they gonna let you in if you go visit Kendrick's concert with that on? Or like how does that work? You gotta cover that up or
Low key, that's the real reason why I'm not showing up.
you're not going?
I don't want Chubbs to whack me.
Oh
Um,
man. So we
yeah,
found out more information though since the last episode. So Kendrick's concert. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. His birthday turned 37 today on June 17th. June 19th, when his concert is taking place, will also be live streamed on Prime. So I feel like kind of like made it that much easier for you to kind of make your decision. I'm assuming, right?
yeah. I mean, like since for me, like being in the comfort of my own home, if I can do that, and I know this event is gonna be curated in a way that it's good for the people at home as well, then I'm fully on board with, just enjoying a peaceful solo session, watching the show with my choice of drinks, not getting a $40 beer from the bar at the concert. So I'm fully ready to celebrate.
Hookah and Hannah.
You gave me a good idea, so I guess, yeah, now there's gonna be hookah there. Yeah, yeah.
Nice,
And I have
dude.
the day off. My wife doesn't, so she can't yell at me for doing that either.
Yeah, but that's just gonna be late as fuck on Juneteenth, though.
Well, I think it starts at 4, but
Oh, it's a day thing.
the
The
what
concert
the
itself.
concert. Yeah, it starts at 4 p.m.
Oh, okay, that's
our
fire.
time.
That's fire. That's fire.
It'll be
Okay,
7
cool.
p.m. your time.
Because I was thinking, my bad. I innately thought it was gonna be like when you went to the fucking Kanye and Drake show, bro. Like I was up on the East Coast like 2 a.m. trying to watch that shit. I was like,
No.
bro, like I'm committed, but bro, like let's get this going, bro. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is like a day thing, which
Yeah.
makes sense because everyone hopefully is off. I'm not off, but I think they're giving us like a free lunch, bro. And it's just like, okay, guys, like I get it, diverse DEI.
Right.
But what was I gonna ask you? So your thoughts? I don't know if you heard this. So like I was going to ask you. So I think on Brilliant Idiots last week, they kind of brought up how like it's on Juneteenth and then like that line where Drake alludes to you think you're trying to free the slaves and all that stuff. Like, do you feel like Drake's in a predicament that he can't even hate on this publicly? Because it'd be like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Is that a problem? Kind of a thing. Like I feel like there's nothing. I feel like with a lot of the stuff that Kendrick has done post beef or whatever, like there's really nothing he can like Drake can say that wouldn't come across as like you're being a hater or also feel like you're not in touch with the culture because that's essentially exactly what he's accusing you of.
Yeah, essentially he can't do anything because if he tries to acknowledge Juneteenth without Kendrick or any musical references, he's gonna just look like he's pandering to black people. And then if he does address it in a negative way, like, oh, go do your little show or whatever, it's gonna look like he's hating on black people.
Yeah, bro.
So he can't do shit, really.
He can't do anything, dog. You just have to let this concert go and just hope that like they don't like go at you way too hard, kind of a thing, right? Like it's not just like a summer jam like we alluded to last week, like on the screen and just like whatever, just destroying him, like bro, like pictures of him as a kid in blackface. God, bro, did they pull out the blackface thing again? Like push it, that'd be a disaster. So I doubt that, but I do think they're gonna. Dude, you can't do Not Like Us and not have a moment where it just feels like a Drake bashing session.
Yeah. Do you think he's just gonna go all in with Not Like Us and just unapologetically yell every bar, or is it you think it's gonna be some modified like commercial corporate like version of everything that's taking place?
I mean, the fact that it's on Prime and not Fox, your local channel, I feel like it won't be some corporate version of it. But I do think the idea of this is just to put on a quality show. So I can't imagine it becomes like, yo, let me give you like just 10 minutes of why this guy's like a PDF or a loser or whatever. I think it's just going to be like, I know what y'all want to hear, put it on DJ kind of a thing, right? As opposed to like, and I told y'all this is what he is. And this, I don't think he's going to become like preachy mid show to prove a point. I think the point's been proven, bro. Like, dude, apparently this shit also sold out like in seconds, bro. Like, so again, I think he's, I think he's up right now, bro. Like so I don't think there's any need to like drive it home. Like, I just think everyone wants to see him perform that song for the first time. It would be the first time he performs it, right? Because I feel like he's been not in hiding, but he really hasn't been out and about since like the song dropped. Yeah,
first time.
Yo, is there a video for that song?
No, there was rumors that he was in the process of making a video and going to drop one. And from reputable sources too, like within the LA community, but I don't know when or if that'll actually happen or what the like theme would even be. Because I can't imagine it would just be Kendrick like in LA with a bunch of Bloods and Crips fucking.
No, it would have to be on some like California, what the fuck's that song? Is it California? California Love. Like, it would have to be on some like you showing love to all of Cali and going from hood to hood and like it would have to be that, bro. That beat is too like immersed in what California is, especially for outsiders. Imagine for like people there, right? So I would say like it would have to be
less
some
Drake,
kind of,
more us.
Yeah. Like alluding to like, again, there'll probably be a moment where like, fucking he's certified, whatever. Like he has to like allude to it, obviously, but I don't think it's going to be like a prop Drake, like essentially me standing there. Just beating up some like light skinned dude. Like, I don't think that's going to happen, but I think a video would be dope, right? Because I feel like a video, I don't think it keeps the beef going, but also makes that song live on its own even for a longer period of time, right? Because I feel like right now, like, again, I might be oblivious. This notion might be crazy, but I don't think people even care that song is a diss at Drake. Like, I could be wrong, but I feel like that song has now gone into, this is a certified hit, and we just want to hear the hit nonstop. And the diss in the song almost just makes it that much more like taboo in a fun way to like sing along to.
Yeah, I think it's just the cherry on top for people that already didn't like Drake. Even if they didn't like him for like superficial reasons, it's just like a fun plus. Like the song's catchy and it goes at someone you kind of already don't like.
Yeah.
Win-win situation for everyone. But yeah, I'm sure the average person who fucks with that song doesn't care about the allegations that much. But I'm sure it's not fun for Drake to see a 12-year-old girl in middle school or whatever age they are at that age or grade sing that song on like TikTok and shit.
Yeah, dude, there was like videos of you might be talking about the same one, but like a middle school dance, bro, and the DJ played that song.
That's what it was.
They fucking lost their minds. It's like, oh, this is a problem, bro. Like,
right. Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna, if it's like a 4 o'clock your time, 7 o'clock my time, I'll definitely make that my Wednesday night vibe, because yeah, I'm excited to see what he does, but also excited to see who he brings out. So peep that. But again, shout out to Kendrick. Happy birthday to him. Big supporters over here, regardless of what the beef is. Let's get into it, bro. Episode 182. Episode 181 is up everywhere where podcasts can be found. I mean, dude, our boy Don Toliver must have heard that we're nervous for 2024. There's no music, and then boom, out of nowhere, our boy drops Hardstone Psycho, which is, what is it? 16 tracks. Almost an hour worth of content. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on the I mean, I don't know if it was a surprise drop, but at least I wasn't paying attention to it. It felt like a surprise to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was like people were aware he was working on an album. I just had no idea it was gonna come this quick.
Correct.
No Diddy.
Because it feels like his last one was a year ago. So to his defense, it wasn't like, it just feels like some of those songs still slap now. Mm-hmm. That it was very interesting to have this come so quickly. No Diddy,
Right.
bro. This is like, you can't say anything anymore,
I
bro.
know. The English dictionary just starts off with no Diddy.
Yeah. It's like, no Diddy. Like, bro, just like go through this, man. All good. But yeah, man. So what was interesting to me, I don't know if it's like this on Spotify. I'm assuming it is.
The disc.
So the album, the what?
The disc, like split into discs. Oh, are you gonna say?
Well, the album is split into like quarters. So it's like 4 songs, 4 songs, 4 songs, 4 songs, and even one song is called 4x4. So like, do you have any idea like what that means? Because like I was just like, oh, is he trying to make this into like a 4-part book or something? Like, hey, this is one vibe, this is the other. Because the album itself sounded pretty cohesive, so I didn't feel like a general shift after 4 songs. But I don't know if you felt a different way.
No, I felt exactly the same way. I was a bit confused as well. I was under the assumption, like thematically or just sonically, he packaged it that way because he thought it was like, this is one vibe, this is another. But to me, like you said, it felt like all of it was pretty within the same realm.
Yeah.
In terms
not
of
a
sound,
bad way. Not a bad way. But yeah, if anything, dude, you could listen to this on shuffle and like you're gonna get the same energy you got if you did 1 through 16.
Right. I mean, for me, I kind of appreciated it because it made it seem like less of a long listening experience. I was like, oh, there's like 4 discs and I can like pick and choose, if I want to finish the first disc for now or whatever. I don't know if it's some sort of like new scheme that artists are doing to like
like the new stream
content. Yeah, because K Tronada had disc 1, disc 2. That was the first time I had seen that split. So I'm not too sure what the
how does it, because you say disc 1, like, so on Apple Music it's not like that. It's just like 1 through 16, but then it's 1 through 4, 1 through 4, 1 through 4, 1 through 4. So this is Spotify like way different?
Yeah, Spotify is different. So it literally says disc 1, and that's what had confused me. So I don't know if you can see in the camera, but that's for K Tronada, and it says disc 1.
Yeah, let me see for K Tronada that they do that for damn, that must be a Spotify thing. That's fire then, bro. So we just also found out why Apple sucks.
Yeah,
Apple Music. Apple Music, to be clear. Apple Music to be clear.
Yeah, see, that's what Don Toliver looks like.
Oh, that's crazy, dude. That's dope. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. That's actually pretty disappointing, to be honest, bro. Like that, that would have made me. I feel
that's what's gonna make you switch.
Maybe that might be the one that pushed me over the edge, but I feel like that's something that's so simple and also would force the listener to listen to it in a certain way. Like that wasn't even a thought. I was just like, did they fuck up the numbers? Because like my shit looks like, I don't know if you can see, but looks like
vaguely.
It just says 1
Yeah,
through
1, 2, 3. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just like, what's the point in that, right? So interesting. Okay, so titling aside, how did you think? Obviously, you thought the vibe was there to be had. Did you enjoy some of the songs? Did they feel repetitive? Did any song stand out? So, kind of, what's your overall review of it?
Honestly, I felt somewhat similar to what I said with the Gunna album. Definitely think overall it sounded really good. Very much adhered to the sound that he's had in previous songs and albums that he's released. So I don't think he was doing anything like out of bounds here or groundbreaking. I just thought, like, if you're a fan of Don Toliver, you'll probably be a fan of this, which I am. I was hoping that there would be like more undeniable smash hits or something that I could latch onto. For me, there was only like a small handful of songs where I was like, oh, that's the one I want to hear over and over and over. But by no means bad. I definitely think it's one of his stronger projects for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I feel like it's definitely one of his stronger projects.
Yeah.
And then considering that the other previous projects he's dropped, I feel like over time aged very well. So I'd be curious to see how we think about this album like a year from now, to be honest, because like I had a similar reaction to you. Like I went through it and I was like, oh, this is pretty, this is solid. Like some of the songs some of these songs slap. Right, we can get into it now or heat of the week, but dude, some of these songs are fucking slappers, bro. However, there were a couple of songs that I'm like, dude, if you would have told me he dropped this song on every album he's dropped, I would believe you. You know what I mean? Because it was like, bro, this sounds like the same. But I do think this was like his best project though. Like I try to think to the other ones when I first went through those listens a couple times, and I was like, it's all right. Like I found the 2 or 3 songs that I like, and it is what it is. But then, bro, I don't know, listening to like a lot of it recently, and then now listening to this, I would say off like first rip, this is probably like the better project he's ever given us.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I think it was definitely more. He had more up tempo, like hard hitting songs versus the last one. And I appreciated that he kept it short versus a lot of these recent releases where there's like 27 songs. It's not split into discs. And I'm just like, do I need to fucking take a vacation day to listen to this? Whereas now it's finally in the realm of what I think is acceptable for an album in terms of
16 tracks.
Yep.
Yeah, 16, 18 tracks for sure. For sure. What would you what were your standout song before we get into what would you give a rating? What was your standout song?
Standout song? I mean, my favorite had to be Tora, but I think I was more so surprised by the Kodak feature.
Yo, hell yeah, bro.
I wasn't expecting that. And that shit was amazing. I think Kodak killed it. I'm always so impressed with him for some reason because he's in interviews or like TikToks. It seems like it's your two brain cells, remaining brain cells fighting with each other. And then he'll go on these songs and say shit that like I feel like no other rapper could ever think of.
Bro, but do you also I get frustrated though, man, because I'm like, I feel like when we get these features, right? This, and I think you're probably alluding to like the Kendrick Lamar feature, right? Or like multiple features on the Mr. Morale album. And you're just sitting back and like, bro, this is phenomenal, bro. Like, how is it the same guy? But then he'll drop 3 albums in a year and you're doing your best to find a song that you actually like. So I'm just like, bro, how do you do these fire features? And then when it's your project, it's like, all right. I don't know if it's just too much of that sound over an hour and a half that just kind of like makes your own brain cells say, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But it's weird, bro, because I've tried on like, dude, Kodak drops like 2 albums a year minimum. And like, I've tried to take a deep dive of them. I'm just like, bro, I can't. No, this isn't it. Like, it's even hard for me to find the one standout song. Like, I remember like Gremlin or whatever that song was last year. I feel like I liked that song because people told me I had to like that song. When I first heard that song, I was like, this can't be the same song you guys are talking about, bro, because this just feels like whatever.
I still don't like that song, no matter how many times I hear it. And I still obviously like Kodak. I think it's like maybe the Kanye effect where when he collaborates with people, they kind of force him to align to their sound, or like it just forces him to try harder or something. Whereas when
or maybe like the task. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying his own shit. He'll just stick to like what he knows and is used to.
Yeah. It's like almost like that movie, right? Like if you give it like a new script, it's like, yo, fucking play this role, you know? Right. Whereas like I think on their own shit, they get very like generic or that's a good point, man. Because comfortable, right? Because he's not gonna go on a Kendrick Lamar album and just do whatever the fuck he wants. And like, bro, we're good. Yeah. You got rules here, bro. So yeah, that's probably what it is. But yeah, that feature was fire. So would that be your favorite song, or was Tore Up your favorite song?
Tore Up is still my favorite. I think the guitar, like we don't get a lot of songs that sound like that. And to me, if I was like an A&R or like his manager or whatever, and I had to go with the single that's going to be a summer banger or whatever, I would go with Tore Up.
Interesting. What did you think of the Cash Cobain feature on this album?
Oh, I love that one too. I actually did I make that? I don't think I made it my heat of the week, but I definitely brought it up a couple episodes ago because that was one of the few ones that was released as a single. I really like that one too. It's one of my favorites, especially that Pharrell, I think, Beautiful sample.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of the other Cash Cobain beats I've heard, so like this, or tracks I've heard. So this one was fire to me.
Yeah, this one kind of made it more digestible, like as opposed to like a overly done, like grippy kind of version. Right, like, bro, like what are we doing here? Yeah. No, I agree. I think the sampling on this album was very good, right? Because it's the sampling where it's like the hints of the song we know, but over a new modern day beat in general, right? Where I think like maybe 2 years ago, like it was just people were just hopping on the same exact beat and making it their own. It's like, no, bro, you have to change it. You can't just put rap lyrics to a Bee Gees song and think it's like, oh, it's all good. It's like, no, bro, you gotta fucking like, there has to be some kind of nuance here. Otherwise, what's the point? So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. Because we'll get into the heat of the week, but like was it Tommy Impala? Is that right? Tommy?
Tame Impala.
Tame.
I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that name out loud, so I don't even know, to be honest.
Correct. Yeah.
It was Tame Impala. I think it's Tame Impala.
Yeah, dude, the Australian white dude with the long hair. So one of his beats is very well sampled on this one. So that stood out to me a lot. So again, to just deep diving a little bit more than in Don Toliver's career, bro. So again, we first get introduced to him on Astro World. I think there's high hopes immediately. I think we both agree that first album was like, oh, okay, I don't know, we didn't know what to expect, but that was like very much like an R&B album. And we're like, oh, okay, maybe this is what he's gonna do. So your thoughts now being 6 years removed from when we were introduced to Don Toliver, which sounds crazy. What do you think his career's on pace to be what it needs to be? Do you think he should be more famous or more well-known? Like, where do you think he's at, like, in his career?
I think technically, if we're relatively speaking to other artists, he should be bigger, especially like with all the Travis Scott cosigns and everything else. But I feel like it's just because a lot of other artists are prematurely blowing up. So it looks crazy if it takes him like 5-6 years, but anybody would dream to fucking blow up in 5 or 6 years. So I think that his trajectory is normal. It just looks crazy because nowadays anybody can blow up on TikTok overnight and like be spoon fed to you by the industry for however long. It's just that he's hanging around with superstars and has features on hits here and there. We're expecting him to be loved by everybody, but I also think part of it's his voice. I think a lot of people have a love-hate relationship because it's kind of whiny. At least that's what I've heard from people. And it's kind of like Ty Dolla $ign. He's like great on features as well, but sometimes their own music falls short because it's there's just not enough substance, I guess, for you to want to listen to like an hour.
Variety,
yeah.
right? Is that right? Yeah.
Right, variety, not enough variety. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. I would say, like, to your point though, like, I feel like it's normal for like someone who's clearly getting more and more successful year over year, right? Because like his thing is, I feel like it's only going up, right? I think he just started so high that inevitably came down a little bit when the first album dropped. And you're like, oh, well, this isn't a bunch of party bangers, so like, I guess I'll need to like reassess how we're gonna like indulge in your music. Yeah, but bro, like, yeah, like you can't. I feel like a lot of people would trade, like a lot of well-known rappers will trade for the momentum that Don Toliver currently has than they currently have in their career, right? Like today, Don Toliver's maybe top 10, bro. Like if artists you really want to just peep and listen to, fucking Baby Mom is a famous Latin pop star. Like you're part of fucking Travis Scott's crew. You're not going to not be famous for, like, dude, like, it's a good spot to be in for Don Toliver, which is great because I do feel like 3-4 years ago when that album dropped, it was like, oh, man, like, I don't know. Then I think you went to see him live like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago.
You didn't leave like thinking like, oh, my God, that guy's going to be the next big thing, right? But I feel like today, I mean, dude, I feel like he's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, no, he's a massive deal. And I think he's one of the rare musicians who seems to be consistently getting better after every single album. Like he didn't have a great freshman debut and then drop off and then come back and then drop. Like he just went straight up, got a little better after every album.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's dangerous when you blow up too quick, too soon, and like don't meet expectations. So yeah, to your point, I think any musician should prefer his trajectory, even if it takes a couple extra years.
Yeah, cause it's almost like, I think someone says back in the day when like it was the whole like 50 and Kanye West, like who's gonna sell the most records, blah blah blah. But it's like, do you want to sell 1 million records first week and then have a dramatic drop off for the following weeks, or do you want to sell 4 million over the course of 3 years? Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like just like every week people are trying to check in on you kind of a thing. Like, and I feel like every month, like people are checking in on Don Toliver for something, you know? So like, yeah, man, good for him, man. Cause yeah, I don't think it was predictable how successful he was gonna become after that first album, right? I think maybe,
Yeah.
I mean, I had moments where I was like, oh, maybe he was like a one-hit wonder on that Travis album. And then like, this is just, he'll be like another guy. And it's like, nah, dude, he's like, again, enough bangers that it's like, you have to respect his artistry, which I think that's like was the rare thing because I didn't realize how much of an artist he was on that first song and first album.
Yeah, no, he's definitely like an artist. You could tell. I wouldn't be surprised if he's written for a lot of other artists. I haven't read this or know this for certain, but he seems like one of those low key guys who has been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Finally, he's getting his shine.
Yeah, even though I think he's still very young. But yeah,
See.
shout out to him, man. Don Toliver, apparently a 4-disc album if you have Spotify, one big ass album if you have Apple Music. But Hardstone Psycho is up everywhere, so go peep that. And I have a feeling I'll have one of those songs on Heat of the Week. But speaking of subpar freshman albums, 14 years ago today, Drake dropped "Thank Me Later." I think it's gone on to go multiple platinum a few times over, but at the time or now, so 14 years later, what are your thoughts on that debut album?
I don't know. The word lackluster comes to mind. I think it wasn't as impactful as most people thought it was going to be. I think we were just so oversaturated with Drake by that point. Like he set the bar for himself infinitely high. It's like, what the fuck did we really expect at that point?
That's fair. That's fair. Do you go back to any songs today?
Yes. I mean, there were kind of the standout ones that were already popular at the time, but like Unforgettable with Jeezy, Still Love Fancy and Over. I think Over at that time, Over was the one song, oh, and Find Your Love, but Over was the one song at that time where I was like, this dude is something else. Like he's never going to be stopped. Like I just thought that beat and everything about it was insane.
Yeah. So damn, I don't want to play it on the thing, but hold on, let me see if I can hear
You could
it.
play it for like, I think 5 seconds or something's like the max.
Oh yeah. You just hear the beat. You're like, oh, there it is. Because Over was his lead single, I believe, for that album.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, right? So it was like essentially the first time that the masses heard him after Best I Ever Had. Even though like we've heard him and he was having, you know, the So Far Gone mixtapes and he was on every fucking feature leading up to this. But I think the masses only knew Drake as he did that song Best I Ever Had, right? So yeah, dude. So when I heard this album, I mean, yeah, dude, you hit it right on the head. Like it was tough because you just heard so many features from Drake that were so leaning hip hop that there was like a sense of confusion as like, I don't even know what to expect, right? Which is like the confusing part, right? Because when 50 drops Wangsta or In the Club, all right, bro, it was very clear what kind of album we were going to get from 50 Cent, right? Like, I'm going to get a fucking gangster rap album over some fire Dre beats. But for Drake, it was kind of like all over the place, and not in a bad way, right? But he had those fun indie rock songs, right? You're like, I don't think he's gonna put that on the album, but like, you just didn't know. So I think that's kind of like what came through that entire body of work, that it felt like a very confused version of himself, right? Like, let me get a fire feature from Alicia Keys. Let me get Swiss Beats on this one. Let me get Jay and Jizzy. Like, it's like, all right, bro, I get it. But as a debut album, you kind of wish it was more about him coming through in these songs as opposed to like what he felt was necessary at the time just to keep the momentum going.
Right. Yeah. And looking at the track list, there was like an overwhelming, I think you kind of mentioned this, just an overwhelming amount of melodic Drake. I mean, it's hard to
knock it,
to knock it and not understand how he even came to that conclusion for this album, because I feel like that's what separated him and put him on at the time. But to your
Yeah,
point,
but I feel like
it
the
was his
hooks were like,
verses that got him.
yeah, but I think the hooks were like rapping hooks for the most part. It's like all that run he was on with like Birdman and stuff like that. I feel like it was like more. I could be wrong, but dude, I can't remember what 19 and 20-year-old Danny was thinking at that time. But I feel like a lot of those beats or those hooks that he was on, yeah, it was singy, but it was like you'll get a fire rapping verse from him. Whereas like this song starts off with fireworks, you're like, what's about to happen? Kind of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, just because I feel like for his own body of work, he was trying to provide something different, and I guess it's weird when it comes to these how fans are going to receive it, because some fans are going to complain you're just doing the same old shit, and then others will complain you didn't do enough of the same old shit that they liked. And I think he just really wanted to separate himself with this first album, and it just didn't quite land as much. He kind of played it safe by like just recruiting like every fucking famous person ever.
Yeah, it's kind of was like stunting, like in a weird way. This is my debut album, but look at the names who want to make music with me. Whereas honestly, it was the opposite, bro. Because I feel like everyone really needed Drake, and like on this one, it felt like Drake really wanted them on the album. Again, I think and this we're not saying anything new. I think he alluded to this in the past when he's spoken about this album. Like he wasn't in the most cohesive state of mind. But I agree with you with the repeatable songs that still age very well. I mean, dude, I actually don't like Fancy anymore. I don't know, bro. Maybe it's because I know Swiss Beats and him have beef. But I don't know. I don't know. Fancy like got corny quick to me. Like even back then, like I felt like, bro, I don't know, man. That one felt too forced, for me at least. But
yeah, I just love the production of that one.
Correct.
And T.I.'s verse.
I would say my favorite song for sure though was dude, what was the Find Your Love was by far my favorite song on that album. And then I would say Miss Me with Lil Wayne was my second favorite song.
Yeah, that was a great one too.
Yeah, because he has Lil Wayne has some fire bars in that fucking song. So it's just like that song might be like one of the top 10 hip-hop songs just for like specific lines. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's when Lil Wayne was like maybe passing the baton to him, but not really. Like he was still very much like that guy. So that was like peak Wayne. I think he might have been locked up at the time too.
Yeah, I think he was locked up at that time. Pretty sure he was.
Right?
That was like all over the news and all Drake would rap about and shit.
Yeah. Then he just happened to have like I think the video was, he wasn't even in the, for sure he was locked up, bro, because the Miss Me video, he's not even in it because he's locked up. So again, Thank Me Later, 14 years later, if you haven't gone back to it, it's still a good listen, bro. It's only an hour. To your point earlier, it's only 14 tracks. So like you can finish this like in a gym session. But there was a couple, man, like the karaoke. Again, I don't think Fireworks was necessary. The Resistance is a classic. What else, bro? Shut It Down.
Like Show Me a Good Time.
You did like Show Me a Good Time?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Fine. I mean, Thank Me Now. It's all right. It's all right. But again, I would say overall, this probably was like a B minus for him.
Yeah.
Right. Again, not a terrible debut album, but I think the majority of the industry already considered So Far Gone his debut album.
Yeah.
So then this was like a poor sophomore album, which is exactly what every artist in the history of music has done. You know what I mean? Like that second album has been trashed for like every one of your favorite artists. Their second album was awful.
Yeah, and that's why it's almost a curse if you come onto the scene like too popular, because trying to live up to those expectations must hurt. And then by the time like your junior album comes around, you're probably even more nervous and anxious about it being fire. So I mean, he obviously reversed that curse, but that shit is, I imagine, no fun.
Bro, but imagine you're essentially doing a biography of 50 Cent's career, bro. Your first album goes diamond. You can't top this, bro. Like that's why he quickly went into fucking producing shows, because like, bro, like, there was no way he was gonna, his career, I don't want to say it peaked, bro, but once he went into like Candy Shop, you can just start kind of seeing like the writing on the wall. Like, all right, I don't know how much longer we have because Get Rich or Die Trying was such a big moment in hip hop. Anything that like anything after is gonna fall a little bit lackluster to that, and you just can't. I feel like once the masses decide they've moved on, it's hard to kind of regain that energy.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think there's a novelty factor too. Like it's really hard to recreate that same feeling when you're introduced to the scene and you have like your own little niche or whatever.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
like
yeah.
50 Cent can't just uh ride the wave of getting shot 9 times and dissing Ja Rule for like every album. Like eventually
Yeah.
that shit as a story is gonna get old. So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And that's why I think a lot of people feel like the So Far Gone mixtape is his debut album, because I feel like everyone remembers, like, because that was the first time you were truly introduced to him. You had to find this fucking link and they had to send it to you. And you had to, like, you listened, like, dude, I remember vividly where I was in my apartment in Miami listening to that shit, bro. So, like, that was the debut album, right? When this came out, it was like, oh, now everyone's on his dick and like forced him to get these features. Like, we don't need this kind of a thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think so. Quality body of work, which he obviously over time proved that he can put out more. So shout out to him. But yeah, check out Thank Me Later if you haven't yet. 14 years as of a couple days ago. So real quick before we get out of here into Heat of the Week, it was just Father's Day. So shout out to your dad, shout out to my dad, shout out to all the dads listening. But I did want to bring up like a topic of like father and son or father and daughter dynamics in hip hop. And have we ever truly seen that to be successful? In the sense, the father comes along, he has a relatively successful career, and then the child comes along and they either meet those same expectations or are relatively famous. A few come to mind with Christian Combs and P. Diddy. Again, probably not the best time to bring that one up, but you know, for a certain stretch there, it seemed like Christian was on his way to do something pretty big in music. We were lucky enough to see Jaden Smith perform and bring out Will. I would say from a music perspective, a lot of people would say they probably enjoyed Jaden's music better. But again, I don't know if it ever reached the heights of a Will Smith, you know, winning Grammys and all that stuff. So were there any like father-son, father-daughters things that you feel like kind of lived up to the hype?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. And this one's more recent, but it's been top of mind for me for a couple weeks. But the producer Hit Boy um, recently released an album with his dad in collaboration with Alchemist called Black and Whites.
Mm.
Um, and
His
their
dad
story's
was locked
crazy
up
to
for a
me.
while, right?
Yeah, yeah, his dad was locked up. How many years? I'm not too sure how many years, but a pretty long time. Like it might have even been like a decade. But his name is Big Hit. Um, and he, yeah, ever since he got out, he's just been on this crazy run, just releasing songs nonstop. Um, he was sentenced to 12 years in prison, I think. Um,
Sheesh.
but in any case, like he and Hit Boy, like you can barely tell that it's a father and son relationship because they're just like the three of them, him, Big Hit, his dad, and Alchemist are just like locked in the studio, just making music as if they were all boys in high school or something. And it's just insane that his son ends up being this like multi-platinum Grammy-winning producer or whatever, comes out and then is working with another Grammy-winning producer, Alchemist. I assume he has a Grammy.
Oh, it has to, bro. Has to.
Has to. And yeah, they're just like making, what it sounds like really dope music, and they're just not getting any publicity really, which is kind of crazy. But I think that was one of the interesting stories that I saw, because it seems like they mesh really well and it doesn't feel quite as forced as like,
Yeah.
let me pass the baton to my son who makes completely different music and is like 10 generations, seems like completely apart from my generation.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think it's not getting much attention because, like, at the end of the day, like, you think about it, I feel like Hit Boy and The Alchemist dropped that song that was fire that we reviewed here. Like, I don't even think that got much buzz, bro. Is it because like Hit Boy is like such like in a specific pocket And especially like if it's an artist that he's now producing that's unknown, that like it's just gonna be hard to kind of just garner that momentum.
Yeah, I think yeah, because Hit Boy, I mean, first and foremost, he's known as a producer.
Right.
Um, and then his dad is pretty much unknown unless like you're really into West Coast rap or like you follow Hit Boy closely. And then Alchemist, his audience is pretty niche. So I think with all of that combined, since there's like no big name rapper
Yeah.
that's part of this process, it's just not gonna get the look. I mean, the game like collaborated with him a couple times, but it's kind of like Larry June ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like unless you're tapped in, this is not gonna be make headlines.
Nice. But it does feel like, to your point earlier, it doesn't feel forced. Like it's
Right.
enjoyable, good collaboration. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one, bro. That's a good one. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's probably the most like random one, but like fire. You know what I mean? Like you got out of jail, your son's like a millionaire producer. Like, yeah, let's do that. Was he a rapper before?
Big Hit, yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was on a couple songs here and there with
Okay.
Hit Boy.
Interesting. Oh, so when he got locked up, Hit Boy was already like making beats and like well known.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I'm assuming if he got locked up 10 years ago, yeah, Watch the Throne already came out. And that's probably when like Hit Boy was like on his best run, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was like around that time, I think Hit Boy had done a song, I think afterwards had done a song with his dad and like 5 other people that was pretty popular. And I think
okay.
somewhere in the mix he got locked up.
Got it. Got it. I'll check that one out. So the dad's name is Big Hit.
Mhm.
All right, I'll peep that. What other father and sons come to mind? Obviously, the Baby and Lil Wayne, but not really blood, right? But some kind of weird mafia tie there. I guess the other way around too, like almost similar to Hit Boy and Big Hit is because I'm pretty sure Drake's dad was a musician, right? To a certain extent.
Mhm.
And then you probably don't think you're gonna give, your son's gonna become the biggest artist in the world for a fucking 15-year span. And that's probably an interesting one, right? Where again, they don't collaborate, but it's pretty interesting, like to even have that, like, dude, you're a dad and you have your own music aspiration, then you create this person and now like they're the biggest thing known to man. That has to be wild.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, like no one really would predict. So I'm sure his dad, that was like the last thing he ever thought would
Oh
fucking
yeah,
take
bro.
place. Granted, I think they had a pretty weird relationship like until he blew up, right? Like they
If you would just go off the songs, yeah.
yeah, off the songs and Drake's conversations and interviews and stuff, but it seems like they've found a way to make it work. Like I think his dad kind of has his own brand and role on Drake's team to where he's maybe not making music for Drake or anything, but is still like pushing the OVO brand in different ways, which is kind of dope. And I feel like even for other rappers that have successful daughters and sons, they're still kind of separate. Like sure, they might be seen together here and there, but they're not like making money in the same lane or whatever.
Yeah. Do you think so who do you think is like the next one up then? Like is there like a father and son or a father and daughter pairing that you can see like, all right, give that one a couple years and this kid's gonna be doing big things?
I'd probably say Eminem and his daughter.
Haley?
Yeah, Haley.
Is she a rapper? Is she a singer? Does she do anything?
Well, if you mean coming up as in like this vague like content creation aspect of things, I wouldn't be surprised if she came up in that way. In terms of music, I don't think so at all.
Okay.
But I've seen her on YouTube like more often than I ever had in the past. And for that reason, I'm like, okay, is she old enough now where like the algorithm's gonna start forcing her upon us? So I wouldn't be surprised if that eventually happened. But in terms of like active like rappers and musicians in the same lane, their children being part of that.
I feel like Northwest is probably up there, bro. She only turned dude, she's 11, dog. Like I feel like she's been around forever, and dude, she's only 11 years old. That was crazy.
Yeah, no, that's a good one because she did that Lion King thing, right?
Yeah, dude. But apparently, there's like a shit ton of controversy over. You hear about that?
The only controversy I saw was that she wasn't good and didn't deserve the role, but I didn't see anything else.
Well, yeah. So I think, yeah. So apparently she's not a good actress or whatever. But I guess the controversy was, and again, for me, it's not controversial. Like, it makes fucking sense. Like, they're trying to sell tickets for a Broadway show. Like, they're gonna do whatever they can to get people to, come and watch it. But apparently, like, she showed up last minute for the audition, and then was bad, but still got the role. So that was the controversy. And it's just like, bro, like, okay, like, either we could have like Sam Smith, or that's a famous name, Sam Johnson, you know what I mean? Or we could have Northwest, bro. Like, who do you
and
think?
Make this, and bring awareness and shit to this. Like, that's what, I agree with you. Like, at a certain point, you have to understand that if you were in that person's shoes, you'd probably fucking choose the famous kid who's acceptable.
Yeah, for sure. Like, again, it'll be in an episode of like Kardashians, and they'll spit it off to something else. But I feel like she might end up being something pretty famous on her own to a certain extent. Man, who else, bro? I feel like Blue Ivy, like, that's being set up in a very, curated way almost. Yeah, but besides that, bro, Future got so many kids. One of them probably gonna hit. Same with Lil Durk. So,
I mean, Adonis, like, Drake's already kind of
Adonis
inching his way into the songs and his own little kid bops. So I see Adonis for sure next few years once he can form full sentences and everything.
OVO France, just like take over like the whole like French thing.
Well,
but yeah, it's interesting, bro. Yeah, because I feel like there was like a lot of, when we were younger, like, all these rappers always had their kids around, right? So you kind of always expected one of them to kind of live up to that or become that as well. But like, again, if you grow up, your dad was a famous rapper because that was like the way he could figure it out, right? To get out of their predicament. I mean, again, what are you really rapping about if all you know is private schools and $1 million? Like, again, it's just like, not that you can't rap about that, but again, the struggle's just different, right? Like, you could be, you could be successful, but like, are you going to have the masses attracted to you for what your content is? Probably not.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, it would have to be, it couldn't be the stereotypical braggadocious route that like most of those within hip hop kind of veer towards. I think it would have to be kind of like what Willow does, or Tyler, like, just kind of be out there and eccentric and not really have some deep message like I'm the shit, or I struggled my whole life. It had to just be like purely relatable, objective shit that like has nothing to do with how much money you grew up with or whatever.
Which I think is why we were so excited about Jaden Smith, right? Because there was a 2-album stretch there. You're like, oh, this guy's fucking like introspective, funny, has a couple bars here. Like, where can this go?
Right.
Then it didn't go anywhere. But like, there was like a 2-3 year stretch there. You're like, oh, this guy is gonna. Again, dude, I'd much rather listen to a Jaden Smith album than a Will Smith album. Obviously different times, but yeah, no, I feel you. It's gonna happen. You can't just be. That's why I think even with King Combs, it was like, all right, bro, we get it. Like, you're super rich, but like, you're not rich because you're rich. You know what I mean? Like, so like, we at some point we're like, okay, cool, like, good for you, or that just makes people more turned off by that approach.
Yeah, honestly, like, I've listened to several of his songs, and I don't think they're bad by any means. I think they're actually like above the average of what I would expect. But I think that there's just kind of no message or story that grasps you. Like, I don't even think it's cringy. Like, nothing he's rapping about.
No, it's not cringy.
Fake, like, wannabe gangster shit. It's like all party shit. But then again, I feel like it's only good for like the afternoon pool party, and you're just not really trying to think too hard about what you're playing.
Yeah. Like, everything is just like, how can I make another fun single? Which is fine. But yeah, like, as far as like substance and living up to what that last name was at the time, it was never that. So cool. If you guys have any father and son or father and daughter things we should be on the lookout, please share in the comments. Appreciate everyone. But before we get out of here, on episode 182. Let's get into some heat of the week. My guy, I'll go first because I don't want you to steal my heat of the week. So we're going to mix it up this week. So heat of the week, Danny's going first. We're going to go back to the Don Toliver album. I'm going to butcher this name again, but on Bandit, which I feel like he teased that song before recently in like the last 2 months. So like, I don't think it was like it was the first time I heard that song fully, but I know I've heard like a teaser before. But dude, that sample on that Tommy Impala fucking song is, bro, next level, dog. Like he made that song feel like a proper like stadium song. Like I can see people losing their minds to this shit and then still vibing, right? Like the most non-aggressive mosh pit. Like if you can like picture it, bro, like that's what Bandit is, bro. That's a very well-produced song. And then the way he fluctuates his tones throughout that to match it is like, bro, like highly impressive. So like, yeah, like the beat's fun, but like if you kind of like listen to the nuances, you're like, oh, this guy's like an artist, which again,
yeah,
I think over time you come to hear that throughout his bodies of work, but on this one, it came through a lot. And on that song, it really stood out. So Bandit on the Don Toliver song, dude, by far my heat of the week.
Nice. I'm mad at it. Definitely love that one. And one of my favorite ones off of the entire project. For my heat of the week, I don't want to do the double Don Toliver thing, but I do love Toro. Kind of reminds me of like his version of Fiend, that repetitive thing of the chorus. But beyond that, I want to give shine to an artist I've shared with you a couple times from Atlanta, I believe. His name's Kenny Mason. The song is called Shell. Has a dope sample from like the 70s on it, real soulful track. Some shit that like 21 Savage would be on if he wasn't calling people pussy and everything. Just, spinning some smooth bars. I don't know, what I like about Kenny Mason is I love Atlanta rap that's lyrical, and just not like this standard trap shoot 'em up, I'm drinking lean type shit. And this song is very soulful. Some really nice bars.
Is it on the 9 album?
This album's called Roughs.
Okay. No, because I know he dropped an album a couple months ago, so I didn't know if that was on.
Oh yeah, he's a 9, 6. Yeah, he's a bunch of albums. Honestly, I haven't gone through all of his music, but I've heard like 5 of his songs now that I've been replaying constantly.
This one's Shell?
Yeah, Shell, and then there's like 4 others. So I need to go through all his discography, but I saw that he's performing with Amine near me, I think in like a month or 2. So
you're going to that, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely planning to go to that.
Nice. Kenny Mason, dude. Yeah, I'll peep. I think you sent me a song on that 9 album, but I'll peep. Yeah, I gotta peep the full thing because I've heard good. You're not the first person to say that.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't think anyone's like truly done a deep dive either. So maybe that could be a topic for next week. Yo, real quick though, going back to the Don Toliver album, did you feel like the first song, Kryptonite, was like almost his version of like stargazing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that the whole like switch up and everything.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Interesting. Because like again, maybe it was just a nod to Travis, obviously, but it felt that way. It felt like, hey, get ready for like a very cinematic, whatever the next, hour of your time's going to be.
Yeah. I really appreciated that intro. And I was already like thinking about Astroworld / Utopia just with the intro. So I definitely thought Travis may have influenced him to do some shit like that.
Do you think that right now, what artists are you enjoying listening to more, Travis or him?
Probably Don. I don't know. I feel like I'm maybe Travis out at this point. It's like how much can you possibly do for now? That's different. Yeah. I feel like Don Toliver hasn't peaked. I feel like Travis is like kind of there.
I think so too, bro. Yeah, like, and again, I feel like that's why maybe there is so much hype about like every Travis drop, because you're like, how is he going to be able to recreate something that feels like you can't recreate it? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas with like, Don Toliver still feels fresh and new enough that we're like, oh, this is cool. Like, where else can he take it? So I would say right now, like, I'm definitely, again, I don't remember the last time I listened to a full like like, hey, just shuffle Travis Scott songs, right? Obviously, there was a time in my life that we did that, right? They were like, dude, we couldn't wait. Like, where's the next Travis feature? Like, but I feel like right now it's very much like, if I had to choose between the two, I'm putting my Apple Music on Don Toliver Shuffle as opposed to Travis Scott.
Yep.
Which is pretty crazy considering, you know, where these artists were 6 years ago.
Right. But I mean, also like Don Toliver can actually sing and everything. So I think he has more ability to provide like range with the music. Like Travis Scott's gonna like kind of deliver the same monotonous auto-tune, can't even fucking speak, monotonous auto-tune flow. And like, unless the production's that crazy, sometimes it gets repetitive. Yeah,
no, dude, 100%. No, 100%. It's just interesting though, because I would never think that, because sometimes Travis, the lead guy, you never get tired of the lead guy and you want to move on to the next guy in the band, right? Essentially like Cactus, you know, this is all like a band and stuff to them. So it's cool, man. It's cool. It's interesting though. But I'm glad you confirmed that, because when I heard that beat, I was like, I feel like he's trying something here I've heard before on Kryptonite. So that was, but dude, shout out to him, man. It's a good body of work. We got to do some digging though, and to figure out what is this whole Dis One thing, because I feel like it has to be a way for them to justify more streams financially. To
something. I've been looking on Google to see like
that's too much of a coincidence, bro. For like back-to-back albums that were like for Kaytranada and this, like that's too much of a coincidence. There has to be a reason.
Yep. Haven't found anything yet, but I'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But it's like, we won't let you drop 28 songs anymore. But hey, if you do it this way, it'll count towards your streams or something. Yeah. But cool, man. Episode 182 in the books. Let the people know where they can find us. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. Catch us at audio-theory.com. New episode every week on all platforms. We also got the Apple Music and Spotify Heat of the Week playlist on there as well. So be sure to check that out. And if you're on YouTube, check down below. We got merch. If you're on the website, we got merch as well. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, comment, share, do what you can to support the channel.
Yeah, keep commenting, keep talking to yourselves in the chats. Those are beautiful things.
It helps a lot.
It helps a lot, bro. Yeah, it was. You guys are going pretty crazy about some Drake chips and salsa things we said a couple weeks ago. So that was all cool. So, all right, my G, I love you. We'll talk soon.
You too.
Peace.